violated storage and transport rules. The company has been fined $6 million following a deadly explosion near the West African country's capital, Accra. The truck carrying explosive material crashed, detonating a huge blast. The company has since been closed down, pending further investigations into the incident. The United Nations says an estimated 13 million people in Kenya, Somalia and Ethiopia are facing severe hunger as the Horn of Africa experiences its worst drought in decades. 3 failed rainy seasons have created the driest conditions since the 1980s, with forecasts of below average rainfall set to increase suffering in the coming months. Now, the drought has destroyed crops and also increased the number of livestock deaths. The UN World Food Programme is calling for immediate assistance to avoid a repeat of a famine a decade ago that killed hundreds of thousands of people. And now for some international news. Italy has begun the rollout of the coronavirus Pfizer vaccine pill to vulnerable people who suffer from severe diseases. The country's health authorities welcome the move, with hopes that the majority of the population will now be open to protection against the virus.
Coloro che sono positivi al Covid e che sono considerati soggetti fragili, che hanno quindi la possibilità di evolvere una malattia grave e quindi ci sono dei fattori di rischio che vengono individuati in base alla scheda AIFA per questa evoluzione. E chiaramente questi soggetti non devono essere in ossigenoterapia, ecco, non devono avere la forma polmonare grave.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is defending the use of coronavirus restrictions to combat COVID-19. Trudeau spoke in Parliament as protests by truckers on the US and Canadian border continue on Ambassador Bridge in Detroit, Michigan. Protesters are demanding an end to the mandatory COVID-19 vaccine requirement for cross-border truck drivers.
Everyone is sick and tired of lockdowns, of the measures we have to do, of the sacrifices we've had to make. But Canadians have continued to step up over the past 2 years, been there for each other, been there to get vaccinated. And that's the unity we've seen across the country of people who've been there for their neighbors, who've been there for their frontline health workers. That's what Canadians are going to continue to do. That's how we get through and back to the things we love. We're going to continue to follow the science. We're going to continue to have Canadians' backs. We're going to continue to protect people's lives.
And that's how we wrap up the international and African news. We do continue to bring you more local news as we take you to the Western Cape, where the pro-State of the Nation address discussions are underway with Minister in the Presidency Mondli Gungubele, who will, of course, getting some detail around those developments with our reporter Nasiphi Same. Stay tuned. Hi. Okay. It's just gone 11 o'clock Central Africa time. These are our top stories. The news just in. Tembisa Hospital in Johannesburg has been temporarily shut down following a fatal shooting on its premises. A 30-year-old police officer allegedly entered the building and shot his partner, who was a nursing assistant. This is a developing story. We'll bring you more as the information becomes available. Minister in the Presidency is on a pre-SONA outreach campaign at various communities in the Western Cape this morning. Minister Mondli Gungubele will raise awareness of parliamentary matters and security. Tensions erupted at the troubled Ditsobotla municipal premises in the northwest this morning. Workers were not allowed to report to duty as political instability is growing. And closing arguments in the perjury trial against former Social Development Minister Bathabile Dlamini is underway in the Johannesburg Magistrates Court this morning. She's accused of giving false evidence under oath in 2017.
The right to vote in free and fair elections and freedom of speech, many of us now take for granted.
I know that none dare challenge me when I say I am an African.
Honorable members, withdraw from the House.
Honorable member, you withdraw there.
Now is the time for each one of us to say, South Africa, send me.
Coming to you live from Johannesburg, a very good morning to you. If you've just tuned in, well, good morning. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Mpho Tole. Now, the Minister in the Presidency has been on a pre-SONA outreach campaign that's throughout various communities in the Western Cape. Minister Mondli Gungubele and Deputy Minister Pinky Kekana will interact with the Delft and Symphony communities, raising awareness of SONA and Census 2022, amongst other campaigns in the environment. Our Newzroom Afrika reporter Nasiphi Same joins us live now to give us more detail around this. Nasiphi, very good morning to you. Issues of concern as this outreach program is underway to give the public information. What are you looking at?
Well, Mpho, what I can say to you that the momentum pre-SONA and the outreach programs by the various ministers and deputy ministers is indeed picking up ahead of indeed that 2022 SONA or rather addressed by the President at 7 p.m. at the Cape Town City Hall. I'm joined by the Deputy Minister here in the Presidency, Pinky Kekana. Ma'am, thank you so much for your time. Today you are at an outreach program, pre-SONA, including Census. Talk to us about what are the concerns being raised by residents that they would like government to look into.
Look, every SONA as government we do outreach programs just to hear the feelings and get feedback from our people on what President has to focus on. But today's SONA is also coupled with the Census 2022. And one of the areas that we are focusing on is Delft, which came into being in 1989. And by then, there were only 25,000 households. Today, we're speaking at the region of over 100,000. And it then speaks to the planning part. Are we giving them services? Have we anticipated this growth? Surely the census become relevant. And the counting of households will help us to say, now that Delft has one hospital, is it able to deal with all the people or give services to all our people? You were with us at the hospital. People are queuing outside. And you know the winter rains in Cape Town are rainy. What will that be as we go into the winter? Now, the #GetCounted will also help us to plan accordingly to say the fact that Delft has grown exponentially, it means that hospital alone will not be able to save these people. The one police station that is there, of course we are alive to the challenges that COVID brought, the shrinking fiscus and other related things. But there are other realities of growing communities in the area. People leaving the farming areas and coming where there are job opportunities. There's only one mall. They're even saying many people have even given up in looking for jobs. So the counting process will also help us to get authentic information that will help us to plan accordingly. So the timing for us, for Census, will also respond to the challenges and depressed communities that we find in Delft. That's one. But we are also saying to our people, the president is on the screen tomorrow at 7. We want them not to miss that opportunity. And we like the feedback that our people are giving using the presidential hotline and all other things to communicate to the president on what their views are. With the economic recovery plan that is underway, the joblessness, and many other things, our people still have to interact and engage government on what they think together we can do to build back South Africa.
In terms of the reception that you've received in regards to Census 22, #Get Counted, what then happens if someone says, I don't want to participate?
Look, the approach has been so easy. We are going down to our people to understand why do you need to be counted. We want to know how many people live in these households, who gets grants, who's employed, who's unemployed. And those things speak to things that are closer to their hearts. Because we're saying we are a department that is responsible for planning, monitoring, and evaluation. How do we plan when we don't have information that will help us so that even the budget speaks to the needs on the ground? So people are very positive towards this. Of course, when you come, they think, we're just from elections, and they think, your government is coming on this. But when you start saying, look, we're going green, we're talking #Get Counted, and people are starting to give an ear. And they know we want to respond to their challenges, and that's why the reception is so good.
The challenges that you speak about, joblessness, communities being depressed, growing communities. I mean, Minister in the Presidency Mondli Gungubele in Paarl, getting feedback from the community there that a top priority being jobs. How many of these challenges that the community is laying before you today will be addressed at SONA tomorrow?
Look, most of the things, remember, we also made sure that there's outreach programs just to get people to give the president feedback, including what the media has been doing. And thanks to Newzroom Afrika, because every morning you put a topical issue and you want people to respond to some of those things. So we don't take those feedback very lightly. We take them serious, and those in liaison with you guys from the media space, but also from our own government officials doing outreach. Already we know how far depressed our people are. And there's a concerted effort